Piazza will appreciate this. This is his kind of music here.
Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Here comes the start of the day!
Now that's theme music right there for Stat of the Day. So that's what we're looking for. That's the bar set pretty high for whose stats would you want. Mike Piazza joining us now. What do you think of that, Mike?
It's kind of chunky.
Chunky?
Chunky right there. Yeah, I like it.
But you
chunky
still
metal.
like, you're a heavy metal, hard metal?
I'm, probably you and I are from the same era, so I would think at least for me when I run now on my music I listen to still a lot of 80s Van Halen, obviously Guns being on tour. It's good to hear them, the AC/DCs. I mean, I listen to some of the new stuff. Godsmack is probably one of the, I don't want to say they're a new band, but one of the more, recent bands I listen to, and a couple others. But how about yourself?
I have a hard time finding anything that's rock and roll now. And I go,
yeah.
So I keep playing the same stuff from the 70s or the 60s. So the Stones and Zeppelin, the Who.
Sure.
It just, I keep going back to that because I don't feel like anybody's doing rock and roll that much anymore.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think these styles of music have fused, together, and it's more about image. There's some great musicians. Don't get me wrong. I see them from time to time, but a lot of it's changed, man. I think we have to admit we're kind of dinosaurs. Just to surrender to it.
But you, being a catcher, you got to hear all of that walk-up music. Like when that guy's coming up to the plate, was there one where you went, "Are you kidding me? That's your walk-up song?"
Well, yes. A few of the songs, I went through my process. Some of the songs that you think sound cool don't really sound cool as you're walking up the plate in the audience setting at the stadium. I read a funny story one time, I'm not sure, was it Tony Tarasco when he's with the Yankees? He played a rap song that was kind of obscene, and it had some lyrics, and the sound guy didn't know, and I guess it went out over Yankee Stadium. I thought that was, obviously not funny, but I got a little chuckle out of that. But yeah, some of them are a little strange. The Latin guys that play the merengue, very high tempo merengue, it may not be made a little bit of a blast to some people, but everyone has obviously their own tastes.
Is there any better song than Rivera Enter Sandman?
No, I think obviously even the band. I think the band even honored him, which was amazing. The fact that a pitcher, obviously, with Mo, his record speaks for itself, and the fact that he almost adopted that song and became the character, so to speak, of that song. It kind of reminds me of professional wrestling, in a way that, when I was a kid, you'd come out, Jesse the Body and these guys, and they would play the music, and obviously Hulk and Randy Savage, would come out to which I really like was Voodoo Child. I actually adopted that when Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage came out. I forget when they changed, they kind of came bad guys, and they came out to that. I thought it was really cool.
We're talking to Mike Piazza. We were wondering if you have anything from the 5 games you spent with the Marlins. Did you keep your Marlins jersey?
I did. Yes, I have one of them. And it was funny because I think I wanted the sleeveless version at that time. And I went to the equipment guy when I got traded. I said, where, because I always liked the old Pittsburgh Pirates, sleeveless jerseys. And obviously I think they patterned it a little bit in that style. And I was like, where's my sleeveless jersey? And they were like, oh, the club president, I think it was Dave Sampson, took it upstairs. And I was like, well, that's mine. Where is it? So he still has it today. So every time I go to a Marlins game, I go to Dave. I go, where's my jersey?
Wait, so this is before you were traded, or as you were being told you were traded, you wanted a jersey to take with you?
Yeah, I have a home jersey. Actually, I have in my house. It's pretty cool, the one I did wear at home. And then we had the sleeveless version, which we wore, obviously, like day games in Florida, which you have to. And so, when I when I was traded to the Mets, I was getting all my stuff together, and I went to the equipment manager, and I was like, I want the sleeveless version. They're like, Dave Sampson already stole it, or, took it upstairs. And I was like, darn, man, I wanted that one.
They should retire your jersey for 5 games.
Well, I did go to the closing of not closing technically, but when the Dolphins then, remodeled the park, the the Marlins were then moving to the downtown park, and I went there, and they had invited me. And I said, you know what? I mean, because I live in Miami, so obviously I'm a local. And they said, we don't care. We think it's kind of cool. And I kind of surrendered. So yeah, I thought it was funny. I mean, people were stunned. And when the guy announced me, I think it was on the MLB special. He said it was short, but it was sweet and it was really cute, you know. And the Marlins fans were like freaking out. They were laughing so hard. So they were like, "Well, we don't think you're probably going to go in the Hall of Fame as a Marlin, but we enjoyed the week you're." And I have 5 RBIs in 5 games.
Oh yeah.
So not a lot of people can
you
say
were
that.
you were on a hell of a pace there.
I was on it. Exactly. I would have driven in 162 runs if I played with the Marlins in 1998.
How close was it? Difficult in choosing the Mets over the Dodgers to go into the Hall of Fame?
Well, not really. I mean, I would lie to say at the time, obviously, when I left the Dodgers, it was very contentious, and there was a lot of like really bad energies coming together. And I've freely admitted at the time, myself and Danny, and we dug our heels in, and the Dodgers dug their heels in, and they were just sold to Fox, and Fox wanted to make a statement, and we just, for some reason, it was toxic. There wasn't any sort of synergy there, and we weren't able to work out an extension. And it was just one of those things. It's like a bad divorce, and it just. At the time, obviously, I wasn't happy, but as the years go on, I mean, I have no ill will at all at the Dodgers, and I never really did. I mean, it took me some time, obviously, because once I came to New York and did pretty well here, it just was bygones be bygones, and that was it. And, I mean, again, I love Tommy, and when I was with Team Italy a few years ago, we were training at the Dodgers camp, and a lot of the old Dodgers came up to me and said hi, and so it was very nice. But no, I mean, look, the Mets stepped up, they traded for me, they signed me, and obviously going to the World Series here, it wasn't that difficult.
Do you understand the Chris Sale? Not topic, but just reaction to that jersey. Like, have you ever worn a jersey where you say, I don't feel comfortable in this, or I don't like this? And here's a pitcher saying, look, I don't like these. I don't want to pitch in it. And then he takes a machete to the jerseys.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think that maybe he may have a grievance there. That, I mean, maybe it didn't fit well or he wasn't comfortable. But, I mean, obviously what he did was out of line. I mean, I don't think you should do that. Maybe if he felt it was uncomfortable, he could have went to the equipment manager and said, look, can I change this or sew this up real quick or maybe stretch it out or whatever. I always thought the flashback days were fun. I mean, I think I saw the Phillies wearing the powder blue roadies a few weeks ago, and I thought it was really cool. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to say that he probably didn't have a gripe, and maybe that made some sense, but the way he handled it obviously was poor, and there could have been a better solution.
I think when I talked to you after you had been announced that you had made the Hall of Fame, I said that you don't know what it's going to feel like. You can practice that speech, but until you get in the moment, you don't know how that emotion is going to affect you. And it almost felt like when you started to read it, deliver it, it started to sink in even deeper. It made you even more emotional in front of that crowd. Oh,
absolutely. And I mean, it was funny because I had done, Jimmy Kimmel the week before, and I went on the show and I said, "Look, I know I'm going to cry. Yeah. I'm going to cry." And he said he sent me a text. It was funny the day before, and he said, "Real men cry at funerals and when they get inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame, so don't worry." And it was really funny. No, you're right, and I think when you think about it, that just. In my kind of theme, it was kind of, I had an unofficial theme, is that you do not go in alone. I mean, and when I think at the time, so many people helping me, and a lot of times you don't even recognize it. I mean, you don't. I told the story about Reggie Smith, and at the time I was young and I was immature and obviously disgruntled and wanted to quit the game, but he reached out and I said, the biggest lesson he taught me was not hitting, how to hit a baseball, but the game of life and not to quit. And that stuff is powerful, and it obviously affected my life immensely from my father, the first contact to this game with my dad, and then on through the minors and mentioning EK and Fonzie and guys I play with and Al. And so that journey, which I really the response has been great. The people said, "Man, you took us on your journey, and it was really special." It was, yes, but it is a powerful thing, and I'm glad I was able to collect myself and not cry all over the words.
How was that phone call from Johnny Bench?
It was awesome. No, it was really, really awesome, and I've already talked to Johnny a couple times and talked to Schmitty, and Schmitty's like, I don't want to bother you, but maybe we could hit the ball, play some golf. I was like, Schmitty, my boyhood idols like bother me. You know what I mean? It's cute and it's so much fun, and it's a great club. It's a great fraternity, and the guys, they treat you like gold, and they absolutely spoil us. I mean, when you get out of there, you're like, man, you feel like royalty, and it's a really special club, and the traditions are amazing, and I think the Hall did an amazing job, and personally I want to thank all the people that came out there. I mean, that's not an easy drive, obviously, from the city to get up there, and they really made the effort, and I'm just glad that they enjoyed the speech, very much.
What do you regret more, the mullet, the mustache, or the frosted tips, or none of the above?
Well, the good thing in bronze, you can't see the frosted tip, so that's out.
Okay.
They did put in, I think, the goatee and the mullet in the back. Even the artist who did the plate was there when they installed it on Monday, and he came up to me and he said, I wanted to put a little bit of the hair in the back, and it looks great. And so, yeah, it's. Do I regret anything? I mean, look, that was the 90s, man. I think, I saw Randy Johnson there. He had a mega mullet, and he had that, that thing looked like, someone took, Paul Stanley's hair and put it under his hat and just, unraveled it. So, yeah, and looking back and seeing it, a few of the guys that had the hair, and now, not so much. It's something that makes,
hold on to what you have for as long as you can.
Exactly. Never complain about too much hair. You know that one.
By the way, I got you 1 for 3 off Mo Rivera.
Yeah, probably was a broken bat. So, 3, pieces all over the place.
No,
he was amazing.
No, it was a home run.
Wait,
wait, you don't remember hitting a home run off Mariano Rivera?
Did I really? Oh my gosh.
Paulie, is that right?
According to our research, we have him 1 for 3 career versus Mo Rivera with a solo home run.
Really? You know what? I do remember that now. What year was that?
Wait, you guys are supposed to remember everything. I figured you can tell me the count that you hit it off.
No, I think because I made the last out against them in the World Series. It's after that I went into a deep depression. So maybe because that wiped that whole home run sort of, lore. I don't even remember what year that was now. That's crazy. It might have just if he was in the game, I don't know if it really was significant or tied or anything, but I got to look that one up. That's something. All right, so then I'm glad you gave me this ammunition because when Mo gets
you
there,
own
obviously.
Him. Yeah, you own him.
Hey, I'll take 333 against the game's greatest closer of all time.
You know who you owned. I felt bad for this guy. You know who you owned. You can tell me.
I'm not even going to go there.
His Hall of Fame pitcher. You owned him.
It was Pedro.
Well, Pedro's there, but poor Tom Glavine.
Oh, yeah. Tommy couldn't. I did bang him pretty good. I got a few. What's funny? I have a few bombs off Pedro, too. It was like,
you got 6 off him, and you got 6 off Glavine.
Yeah, no, I remember Pedro used to throw me that little cutter, and everything else I couldn't hit, and I used to just sit all over that. And he usually threw it to me when I was ahead or behind in the count. And so, yeah,
you were waiting for
the
it.
Trap.
Yeah. Oh, you did.
The trap.
Hey, congrats! It was a great speech,
Thanks,
great
man.
day, and thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, Mike Piazza, Hall of Famer.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.